time an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
It started long before the internet noticed, long before whispers turned into headlines, and long before a grieving family found itself at the center of a public storm, because behind closed doors, Charlie Kirk was already asking questions about his own marriage, quietly and without outside influence. Those closest to him now say his doubts were deeply personal, rooted in moments that did not add up and feelings he could not shake, rather than rumors or online pressure. As this story unfolds, remember to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss future uploads that continue to unpack what is quickly becoming one of the most complex family disputes in recent memory. According to people familiar with Charlie's private life, his suspicions began subtly. There was no dramatic confrontation, no explosive discovery, just a growing sense that something felt off. Charlie reportedly noticed inconsistencies in Erika's explanations, unexplained absences, and emotional distance that did not align with the image of stability presented to the outside world. Importantly, this period of doubt unfolded before the marriage became a topic of public scrutiny. There were no viral threads pushing him to question paternity or fidelity. Instead, Charlie's concerns emerged in isolation, shaped by lived experience rather than public commentary. Those who knew him describe a man who internalized his worries, choosing reflection over accusation. This quiet skepticism would later take on far greater significance after his death, when his parents began retracing the same unanswered questions he had carried alone. The situation took a dramatic turn when leaked audio and supporting records surfaced, suggesting that Erika may have been seeing an ex-partner behind Charlie's back. The contents of the tape, while not publicly released in full, reportedly align with timelines that Charlie's parents had already found troubling. These records did not emerge in a vacuum. They echoed concerns about overlapping relationships and unexplained gaps that had long bothered the family. For Charlie's parents, the audio was not shocking so much as confirming. It appeared to validate a pattern they had sensed but struggled to articulate. The allegation of an affair added emotional weight to their doubts, transforming vague unease into a more concrete fear that Charlie may have been living with unanswered truths. While Erika has not publicly addressed the leaked material in detail, its existence has become a cornerstone of the family's push for clarity. As more pieces came together, DNA testing moved from a sensitive suggestion to a central demand. Charlie's parents now say that their insistence on testing was not born out of malice or suspicion alone, but from the realization that Charlie himself had been quietly asking similar questions before his passing. This revelation reframed the issue entirely. What once looked like parental overreach now appeared, in their view, as a continuation of Charlie's own unfinished search for truth. DNA testing, they argue, is not about rewriting history or assigning blame, but about honoring Charlie's concerns and ensuring that the children's identities are grounded in fact. The resistance, or lack of urgency, surrounding testing has only intensified their resolve, as they believe definitive answers could settle disputes that speculation never will. Publicly, Erika has long maintained a carefully curated image. In interviews and appearances, she presented herself as disciplined, morally grounded, and untouched by the kind of social life that often invites controversy. She spoke of not dating, not partying, and living a structured, almost monastic lifestyle. This image became central to her public persona, reinforcing the idea that her relationship with Charlie emerged from purity and restraint rather than a complicated past. Supporters found this narrative reassuring, while critics later began to question its authenticity. The strength with which Erika defended this image made any contradictory evidence all the more jarring when it began to surface, challenging the foundation of her public story. Contradictory evidence from Erika's past has since complicated that narrative. Photos, visible scars, familiar locations, and resurfaced footage paint a picture of a life that appears far more social and active than she previously admitted. Critics argue that these details are not trivial. They directly contradict statements she made about isolation and abstinence. The issue is not whether Erika had a past, many people do, but whether she was truthful about it. Each resurfaced detail has added texture to a story that now seems incomplete, if not misleading. For observers, the accumulation of these contradictions suggests a deliberate effort to reshape history rather than simple forgetfulness. One of the most cited examples is Erika's appearance on Bravo's Summer House in 2018. Footage from the show depicts her drinking, socializing, and engaging comfortably in a party environment. This portrayal stands in stark contrast to her later claims of abstinence and withdrawal from social life during that period. Reality television is, by nature, curated, but the scenes nonetheless challenge the version of events Erika later described. For critics, this is not about shaming behavior, but about consistency. When public records directly clash with personal testimony, questions naturally follow. The Summer House footage has become a reference point for those arguing that Erika's narrative evolved over time to suit changing circumstances. Further complicating matters are Erika's serious prior relationships, particularly her well-documented involvement with professional baseball player J.T. Massey. The relationship was not casual or hidden. Engagement-style photos circulated publicly, accompanied by declarations of love that suggested long-term commitment. These records undermine claims that Erika had little to no dating history before Charlie. They also raise questions about emotional overlap and timing, especially when viewed alongside other relationships from the same period. To critics, these relationships demonstrate that Erika was deeply involved with others in ways she later minimized or denied, fueling broader concerns about honesty. Evidence of overlapping political and social circles adds another layer of complexity. Despite Erika's claim that she met Charlie by chance, records suggest she moved within his political orbit years earlier. Connections through figures like Tyler Bohr indicate that introductions may have been far more intentional than portrayed. These overlaps matter because they challenge the randomness of the relationship's origin story. If Erika was already embedded in Charlie's world, the narrative of a spontaneous meeting loses credibility. Critics argue that acknowledging these connections would not have been damaging, but denying them has created unnecessary suspicion. The timeline becomes even more tangled with allegations involving Cat Phillips. According to those examining the records, Erika was allegedly dating Cat Phillips around the same time she was introduced to Charlie. If accurate, this directly contradicts claims that she was not seeing anyone when she met her future husband. Timeline overlap has become one of the most persistent issues in this case because it intersects with questions of fidelity, honesty, and paternity. Even small discrepancies take on outsized importance when trust has already been eroded. With Charlie gone, the situation has escalated dramatically, shifting from public controversy to serious legal stakes. His parents are now demanding DNA tests and have signaled that they may pursue custody if their concerns remain unresolved. This potential legal battle centers not on reputation, but on the welfare of the children. They argue that certainty about paternity is essential for making decisions that will affect the children's futures, emotionally and legally. What began as private doubt has evolved into a high-stakes dispute that could redefine family boundaries through the courts. At its core, this story is about unanswered questions and the cost of silence. Charlie's quiet suspicions, Erika's contested narrative, and the mounting evidence have converged into a conflict that no longer allows ambiguity. The legal process may eventually provide clarity, but the emotional impact will linger far beyond any ruling. As this case continues to unfold, it serves as a reminder that truth, once deferred, often returns with greater force, demanding to be addressed. For ongoing coverage and future updates, subscribe to stay informed.